Just in time for Alien Day, Dark Horse Comics has announced they'll be releasing a new comic series in April, Alien: The Original Screenplay. This follows after the success of their Alien 3 comic, a release that adapted William Gibson's unused screenplay for the third film in the series. A glimpse into the what could have been of the third film, and now we'll be getting another alternate screenplay adaptation, this time for the original Alien. The comic series is based on an early draft by writer Dan O'Bannon, which, while recognizable in broad strokes as the Alien we all know and love, is a much different star beast altogether. Alien would be defined further by writers David Giler and Walter Hill, who made some crucial revisions as production went on. In this new comic, we'll see a version of Alien presented as if those revisions never happened. So what is this original screenplay, and how does it differ from the movie we got? The 1976 screenplay, written by Dan O'Bannon, with story credit also given to Ronald Shusett, is attached to O'Bannon's own synopsis, offering an overview of what can be found in the pages within. The synopsis describes the following. En route back to Earth from a far part of the galaxy, the crew of the starship Snark intercepts a transmission in an alien language originating from a nearby storm-shrouded planet. Mankind has waited centuries to contact another form of intelligent life in the universe. They decide to land and investigate. Their search takes them to a wrecked alien spacecraft whose doors gape open. It is dead and abandoned. Inside they find, among other strange things, the skeleton of one of the unearthly space travelers. Certain clues in the wrecked ship lead them across the hostile surface of the planet to a primitive stone pyramid, the only remnant of a vanished civilization. Beneath this pyramid they find an ancient tomb full of fantastic artifacts. Lying dormant in the tomb are centuries-old spores which are triggered into life by the men's presence. A parasite emerges and fastens itself to one of the men's faces, and cannot be removed. An examination by the ship's medical computer reveals that the creature has inserted a tube down his throat, which is depositing something inside him. Then it is discovered that the parasite's blood is a horribly corrosive acid which eats through metal. They dare not kill it on the ship. Ultimately, it is dislodged from its victim and ejected from the ship, and they blast off from the Hell Planet. However, before they can seal themselves into suspended animation for the long voyage home, a horrible little monster emerges from the victim's body. It has been growing in him, deposited there by the parasite, and now it is loose on the ship. A series of ghastly adventures follow. They trap it in an air shaft, and a man has to crawl down the shaft with a flamethrower. It tears a man's head off and runs away with his body. A man is crushed in the airlock door, and the ship loses most of its air in a terrific windstorm. Another man is burned to death and then eaten by the creature, and another is woven into a cocoon as part of the alien's bizarre life cycle. Finally, there is only one man left alive, alone on the ship with the creature, and only 6 hours till his air runs out, which leads to a climax of horrifying explosive jeopardy, the outcome of which determines who will reach Earth alive, man or alien. Also included is a summary of the cast of characters, which O'Bannon notes as being unisex, interchangeable to be portrayed as either men or women in the finished film. Chaz Standard, Captain, a leader and a politician, believes that any action is better than no action. Martin Roby, Executive Officer, cautious but intelligent, a survivor. Del Broussard, Navigator, Adventurer, brash glory hound. Sandy Melkonis, Communications, Tech Intellectual, a romantic. Cleve Hunter, Mining Engineer, high-strung, came along to make his fortune. Jay Faust, Engine Tech, a worker, unimaginative. With these plot points and these characters, you can get a really strong sense of what Alien would come to be. This 1976 screenplay is Alien in embryo, with much of the recognizable concepts already formed. You may notice, though, that in this version there's no Ash or equivalent character. The idea that an android was secretly working with the company to protect the alien was something that came with the revisions. The characters that are included in this version have similar attributes and meet similar fates to the characters in the 1979 film. The survivor character, Roby, would ultimately turn into Ripley for the final film. The alien of Alien didn't quite have the definition, which would later be achieved with the Giger design. Here it is described as a 6-foot monstrosity, ghastly beyond imagination, squamous, covered with tentacles. The core alien elements are very much present in this early incarnation of the story. The creature that implants an embryo, which bursts out of the host's chests. The seemingly indestructible nature of the alien, with acid for blood. The desperate crew trying to find out a way to kill it. The tension of the story has different points which are given more emphasis. In this version, there is an attempt to capture the alien in the airlock, which fails, leaving the crew extremely low on oxygen, adding to the urgency. This plot point very nearly made it into the 1979 film, but wasn't fully filmed and eventually scrapped from the movie altogether. In this version, the reveal of the cocoon is presented as a pretty crucial standout moment. Wow. In the 1979 version, it was filmed, but deleted from the final cut, and didn't get edited back until 2003 with the director's cut. It's very interesting to consider what points from this version were taken and worked with, what was given more focus, what was changed, added, or left out. They're so incredibly similar, but it's true that the devil really is in the details. If certain behind-the-scenes deals didn't take place, if things just worked out a little bit differently, then maybe Alien would have turned out more like O'Bannon's original script. I think it's a great idea to pursue this adaptation in comic book form. True to O'Bannon's inspirations, this version feels pulpier and more like the ultimate 1950s sci-fi creature feature. That seems like something very much at home in the realm of comic books, so I'm very curious to check this new comic out. We've been teased with a few panels so far, we've been given a look at the characters, the planet, but not the alien itself, so it would be very interesting to see if they decide to incorporate artist Ron Cobb's alien design and some of his earlier concepts that came before Giger's involvement. Considering the great work that was done with the release of William Gibson's Alien 3, I'm very excited to see this adaptation. I'm really interested in seeing this alternate version brought to the page, and who knows, maybe they'll follow a similar route to Alien 3 and produce an audible audio drama as well. I'd love to see that. But for now, we'll have to wait until April 22nd with the release of the first issue. Are you looking forward to it too? And are you liking this trend of unproduced Alien screenplays being adapted into Dark Horse Comics? What do you think they should do next? Comment below and share your thoughts. As always, I'd like to thank you very much for watching today. I really appreciate it, and if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like, and you can also subscribe for all the latest videos from the channel. A very special thanks goes out to WEYLAND YUTANI executives, EmYarUk, Mark Fox, and Lady Anne, and our queen, Albert Newell, part of the Patreon Hive. If you'd like to join the Hive and support the channel, check out my Patreon page for exclusive posts and contests. In the meantime, you can catch up with Alien Theory over social media. Follow @alien_theory on Twitter and @AlienTheoryYT on Facebook and Instagram for more. And until next time, this is Alien Theory, signing off.